or what we call kajian on space planning. And we also gain customers' feedback to help us design a better service provision for our community. So we are using evidence-based approach to make important decisions for the libraries. And for example, we establish a strong connection between usage statistics and implications for future electronic resources subscription. We don't just dream and tell our management we want to subscribe to this content. We have evidence to prove that these contents are going to be important to fulfill information needs of our academic community as well as our students' community. However, to understand the future of our libraries, we need to dive deeper into our huge data that we currently kept, or we secretly kept in our library activities. I agreed with Prof. Zuraidah that in order to analyze this kind of data, we can't bear to do manual analysis. We need to use big data analytics to better understand our customers' behavior in the physical library, in the physical space that we are providing now, or even in the virtual platforms. Collecting usage data based on number of PDF downloads of full text are no longer sufficient for libraries to plan for the future. We need to understand information seeking patterns among researchers. And this involves big data analytics, not only to what we call to analyze on log reports, but to implement an integrated analysis, data analytics, including the customer survey platform, the customer satisfaction surveys findings, and many other platforms that are currently not being able, the librarians not being able to present to the larger community. I think we have to agree that for academic libraries, students' community represent the biggest customer segments. If we consider our academic library is a business entity, imagine how much, it's a huge investment made to serve the students and to fulfill the information needs, be it on the collection development budget, be it on the introducing new space, areas, attractive space, or what we call learning space for them and so on. That is why we need this or LA for the library, for today's library, in order for us to prepare for the future. Learning analytics will provide understanding on students' behavior and how it relates to their performance in academic leadership in the campus life experience. This might provide some answers about the declining of number of physical visits to the library, declining of lending, borrowing statistics in academic library, which is not only affected us, it's affected the global libraries as well. The trend we've been talking about this, I think, for the previous 15 years, the declining of users' preferences towards printed books. And this is fairly important because if we do this, we can find, more perspectives on the data, the learning analytics that we carry out in the university. The library will play an important or more important role by contributing towards promoting students' excellent campus life experience, and the most importantly, enhancing students' performance. That is part of, I think, things that you can read from the recent Horizon Report 2021, and you can also read this in reading about learning analytics in EduCourse that please subscribe to EduCourse so you will receive more alerts from them on what we call the new findings on libraries and the technology, for example. So what I would like to say, Cik Zawawi, is we are currently talking about new job, right? We read somewhere the advertisement on Chief Listening Officer, the CLO.
Yeah.
We are looking on advertisement on, like Prof. Zuraidah mentioned, Chief Happiness Officers. And we also need a what we call a user experience architect among librarians to really design good features, attractive libraries. Not only men and women need to be attractive. Library must stay attractive and healthy to attract healthy people coming to the library and using the libraries for good. I think that is part of my what we call my opinion on this. Definitely, we need to do more to sustain the future, to sustain the library relevancy for the future. Cik Zawawi.
That's
Thank you.
definitely one, Mazmin. So we can see that there's a lot of things that need to be done. Prof. Zu, are you back?
Yes, I'm back.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we continue, Prof. Zu. I mean, we
Yeah.
understand technical issue is always there.
Okay. I'm sorry about the disruption just now. So, well, Puan Mazmin, if you have the post CLO, CHO, do contact me because I have to apply for it. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, okay, the future is coming. Okay, but we need to be open. We need to be open and ready for it. Okay, Puan Mazmin has mentioned a lot about it just now, and the key aspect that is required in future-proof librarian, as mentioned in our early discussion, is the ability to predict and forecast what's going to happen. Although the situation revolves around prediction and forecast, okay, nonetheless, it has to be educated guess and intellectual estimates. The basis of this anticipation must be supported and backed with highly researched data and scientific methodologies. Okay, I think Puan Mazmin has mentioned quite extensively about this. Okay, so when we want to anticipate, it cannot just merely a genuine aspiration. Okay, it must be based. It must be an intellectual and educated guess. Okay, so librarian can make an intellectual prediction based on available statistics. Okay, library is one organization that collect a lot of data every day. They have huge data in the library. Okay, or you can use statistics provided by other agencies or organizations such as Department of Statistics Malaysia, or to come up with their own data through scientific research. And even with the current technology, we can use big data to make prediction based on the trend and pattern of the data we analyze. So, if you want to say what is a future-proof library should be, it should be as an infrastructure, a network of integrated, mutually reinforcing, evolving infrastructures. Libraries of the future should be as a platform, becoming the keynotes within evolving system of media production and distribution of knowledge and community. They should open up their entire collections, all their metadata, and any technologies and allow anyone to build new products and services on top of that foundation. And number three, library should become a social infrastructure. Okay, new social services are more associated with libraries to benefit even to those who don't have an immediate need for its space or its services. And finally, especially for academic libraries, libraries should become an intellectual infrastructure. The way a library's collection is stored and made accessible will shape the intellectual infrastructure of the institution. Okay, Cik Zawawi, back to you.
Thank you, Prof. So you can see that the ability to predict and to forecast is very much more important. And when Puan Mazmin have highlighted related with the things that we need to dive in deeper, we need to understand more. And what is the pattern, the users, okay? Not only our users that we are having now, but the world, what they really needs from the library itself. All right. Yeah, before we go to question number 4, I would like to welcome, before I forget, because we have friends from Indonesia have been following the session. Okay, we would like to welcome all our Indonesian friends, our Malaysian friends, and as well our friends from Brunei. So this is very interesting that we have 2 other countries joining. So we hope that more countries will be joining for the session. So we lead to question number 4, yeah? So, yep, Prof. Zua. So if future proof libraries and librarians is about acceptance and recognition to forthcoming scientific advancement, so what will happen to the old way of thinking about libraries and librarianship? So do you think the old ways will just gone or happen?
Gone with the wind. Gone with the wind.
Don't you do it.
Well, Puan Mazmin has highlighted, she said, my way and menaruh harapan, is it?
As the theme song for the forum, for this conversation.
Don't forget to include quest Sarah. Okay, Cik Zawawi, ladies and gentlemen, notwithstanding the power and potentiality of future proof librarian, we need to always remember our root, okay? Not just in work, but also in our daily life. If we look at the basic role of librarians, okay, we are the mediators. Okay, I always use the word we because at one time I was also a librarian. Okay, we are a mediators, linking the sources of information with users. And we serve many knowledgeable people. Okay, it is not a normal people. They are knowledgeable people. But the value still reside in our ability to mediate between the library resources and the people we serve. As a librarian, we should be confident and remain experts in knowing where the right information can be found to the point where we can legitimately train our users in research skills. The substance, the process, the functionality may change and evolve, but the DNA, the librarian DNA, the true identity of a librarian should not change. It is just a matter of how librarian can adapt it in the current and future scenario. When we talk about the latest trend of technology like big data, blockchain, AI, IoT, it is all applicable to be used in each of LIS route. And by this adoption, it will make the services offered efficient and effective. Puan Mazmin did mention about the publishing industry. Okay, so we take publishing industry as an example. The academic publishing world is changing significantly with ever-growing number of publications every year. Today, researchers can publish not only an ever-growing number of traditional venues, but also in electronic preprint repository and in mega journals that provide rapid publication times. On top of that, the speed at which researchers can share and publish their studies has also increased drastically. So, as a librarian, how we can ensure that we have captured and curate all those reliable information in a systematic manner and finally matched with our user needs and disseminated it accordingly. We have to manage the information available properly. We must be able to filter and curate only the reliable source of information, especially for scholarly information. And failure in providing the users with reliable source of information definitely will disrupt the whole process of scholarly communication. So, ladies and gentlemen, Cik Zawawi, Puan Mazmin, I believe IFLA has predicted and anticipated that the trend of this current academic publishing are going to happen. That's why they come up with UBC and UAP concept in 1970s. The concept of universal bibliographic control and universal availability of publication. The aspiration of both concepts is meant to enrich the curation and accessibility of information created by human. And if we look more detailed, okay, both concepts are also very much related to Ranganathan's law proposed by S.R. Ranganathan in 1931. And many librarians around the world accept the law as the foundations of library philosophy. We can see the evolvement of this law, and it has been transformed and made suitable to the current scenario from time to time. If you look at literatures, authors such as Michael Gorman, Ali Riza Norouzi, Carol Simpson, Achala Munigal, and also the latest one, Bashir Ahmad, have adapted Ranganathan's law in different era and different period of time. The basic principle where books are for use, every reader his book, every book is reader, save the time of the reader, and a library is a growing organism are still remain intact. So, if we really understand the root of Ranganathan's law, we can still apply and adapt it to the current and future situation. The fifth law stated that library is a living organism shows that Ranganathan strongly opined that library will not die and will remain alive and will keep on growing as an entity that will safeguard human intellectual. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to share you a quote by Victor Marie Hugo, who was a French poet. He states, "A tree's beauty lies in its branch, but its strength lies in the root." So if you know where you are from, it is harder for people to stop you from where you are going. So as a librarian, although we need to prepare ourselves as a future-proof librarian, do not forget our root. We need to embrace it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Prof. That's quite touching, yeah. So yeah, Puan Mazmin, maybe you would like to highlight more things for question number 4.
Thank you, Cik Zawin. Thank you, Prof. Zuraidah, for the in-depth, I think, recognition towards librarians. I think that the statement and the explanation touched my heart as well, and also Cik Zawawi's heart and other librarians watching us today. And I just would like to echo on Prof. Zuraidah's explanation on Ranganathan 5 laws of library sciences now, which was introduced in 1931, yeah, Prof. Zuraidah?
Yes, Ranganathan 1931.
Yeah.
I hope all librarians still remember that laws.
Yeah, we have to, and because what I'm observing now, these 5 laws are actually being applied in whatever service and even the new services that we are providing to our users. For example, this law is very relevant on how we actually promoting access remotely, providing remote access to our customers. And we are using many federated identification platform, and we are even actually providing discovery service very related to these 5 laws to allow our customers to discover more, to use more, and also to optimize whatever resources that we are developing for them. And even in the what we call in the concept of institutional repositories, we are actually collecting, preserving, and providing access to resources that, before may be kept in boxes or folders in the physical library, but now we can actually search the detailed information on even the history, the archive, the digital, what we call the expertise, and also our core research findings and discovery in institutional discovery. And another thing that might also very relevant to our effort to broadening access, because last time Raghunathan mentioned about books, but later on another researcher proposed on web, and I believe the digital contents are very much related even with the laws that Raghunathan introduced long ago. For example, Prof. Zuraidah, remember about Konsortium Sumber Elektronik Pendidikan Tinggi?
Yes.
Of which Zawawi mentioned in his introduction. I believe for some people it is not something new for a consortium. It is, is a concept that being used long ago. But what is new to us is the Konsortium Sumber Elektronik Pendidikan Tinggi is not only helping public universities, GLUs, and coming up the private institutions on optimizing our resources, but it's also helped by broadening access to non-subscribers. For example, in the consortium model that being introduced through concept, a few selected polytechnics have actually managed to access free what we call selected packages from Elsevier. To be used in the teaching, learning, and research activities in the polytechnics. Which is what we call a huge difference if we compare the overall what we call concept for a consortium also benefited among the subscribers or the members. But in our consortium approach, we also enhance access to the whole, we plan to enhance access to the whole higher education ecosystem and community. This is something that very important for future-proof library to do this and to maintain doing this due to the VUCA scenarios where we don't have budget, we don't have, anybody, not anyone can have negotiation skills to develop a good consortium framework, for example. So this is fairly important. And I also even though, I have to be honest, I use Google every day. But there is a growing perception that information that is not on Google simply does not exist. This is very dangerous perception, and this kind of beliefs will affect our customers in the process of getting quality information for their research, our young generation, the millennials, that searching information on Google, and if it's not available on Google, that's it. So how are they supposed to produce quality assignment, quality discoveries for the mankind? So I believe that in even in future-proof libraries and librarians, we play important role to educate future students through our information literacy program. we have a very dynamic role to help to educate and to what we call to nurture digital citizenship that is responsible in making their statement on the social media, on using facts and figures to support their opinion and so on. And I believe, let me just finish my last point of view on the future-proof library and the future-proof librarians. How are we going to make an impact of the process that we are doing today by impacting the future? I believe that the role that we are playing now by collecting, preserving, and to digitize and to make these contents available to the global community is a very important ability. Because I believe that in the future, all libraries are contributing towards one global library. And how do global community access to unique and niche contents from any libraries or any academic libraries? So this is what going to happen. This is my prediction. And I believe there will be a huge network of libraries that contribute to this global library and to secure global access to global community. Our community of future-proof librarians will continue to practice their skills and ethics and provide valuable, curate, attractive and relevant information to the global community. That is my point of view. Prof. Zuraidah, maybe you would like to add on that, on the global community? Thank you.
Okay, so I guess I have to agree with you, Puan Mazmin. I think we have a same school of thought about our future proof librarianship and future proof library. So I just hope that the librarian in Malaysia can form a community to really talk and discuss on how we should move forward for this future proof library. Yes, Cik Zawari.
Thanks, thanks, Puan Mazmin. Wow, the very interesting answers. So I like the what do you call the quote that Prof. Zu have highlighted related with a tree beauty lies in the branches, but the strength lies in its roots. So always remember your roots, right? Thanks for that. Thanks for reminding that, Prof. Zu. Well, we continue with our final questions, yeah? So we have our final questions. So I would like to invite, this time I would like to invite Puan Mazmin to answer, yeah? Okay, for the last question. Yeah, Puan Mazmin, what do you think? Are we ready to face these challenges? So whether we like it or we don't like it, it's already there. So how are we going to react to it? So are we ready for it?
Why do you choose me to answer this difficult question first? Okay. Okay. So I believe that we are doing a lot now, like Prof. Zuraidah mentioned in her introduction, that libraries survive, and we do so much to make our organization relevant to the community we serve. But I think we have to do more. I have to be fair to myself and to my colleague. Kuasa Ketua Pustakawan, Ketua Pustakawan Siti Awam, and led by, if I can mention her name, Puan Zahara Samad from UTHM, and also her group members, they call themselves Exalit. they actually have collaborated with ACAP to produce a module, a very important module, to actually enhance and to train our future librarians, our successors, our future library leaders to learn new things. And I've seen the module, the recommendation for the module also involve futuristic aspect of the future library. They will, this is very important for us to actually provide a good training platform so that our successor and our librarians in Malaysia can learn a new future skill set that are sometimes will be sustained in the what we call in the future libraries. And I would like to share. Can I share one more thing, Cik Zawawi?
Sure,
You
sure,
have to
sure.
say yes because I'm going to share. So you say
No
yes
problem,
or
no
no.
problem. You can
Okay.
continue. Puan.
And I think most of us maybe have read a prediction made by an author, Michio Kaku, and he produced a lot of many books on the future, like physics in the future and the future of humanity, and that part of the book that he wrote, he writes, and one of the statement that is currently happening and may happen in the future, the prediction is, he said that in the future you will simply jump into your car, turn on the internet, turn on a movie, and sit back and relax. And turn on the automatic pilot, and the car will drive itself. Unlike a human driver, it doesn't get drunk, it doesn't get distracted, and certainly does not have road rage. So some of his prediction, he predicted that this will happen in 2021. Sorry, in 2011. In 21. But this is happening partly. And I believe that based on whatever prediction that we're going to make, it's still based on what we are doing today, Prof. Zuraidah. What we are going today, we have to sustain and put more value to it. And inshallah, we will retain, we will survive for the future. He also mentioned that the future of humanity, in the future of humanity and so on, the books, that the future will be a human can do the, it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
What we are having in our continue doing it. But I believe future proof librarian and the motivation that the library school taught us on helping others, on providing excellent reference services will continue to grow and sustain. The element of human touch from us, the librarians community, is very important, as must be one of the many key things that will help us to stay relevant in the future. I think that is my point of view, Prof. Zuraidah and Cik Zawawi.
Okay.
Yep. Prof. Zu, maybe you would like to highlight more.
Okay. So maybe this will be my last answering to the question. So Puan Mazmin, Cik Zawawi, and all librarian out there, okay, we have to prove the prediction made in early 2000 is wrong. Libraries will remain as an important institution present and also in the future. So if we look that libraries are characterized as being technical forces. Okay, and to be relevant in the future, librarians have to push. We have to push ourselves forward and let the world know what we can do. We must demonstrate a strong voice, our capacity to challenge, and the ability to think big picture and globally. For that, we need a concerted and collaborative effort to come out with a policy guidelines for Malaysia's future-proof librarian and future-proof libraries. Establishing a policy guidelines is paramount and can be used as a tool to guide the libraries to the right direction to be a future-proof library. And number two, the guidelines can be used as a monitoring and measurement tools for to measure libraries and librarian performance. IFLA, CILIP, and other institutions might have the guidelines, but personally, I think we need to have our own guideline mengikut acuan kita sendiri. Okay? And Malaysia guideline for future-proof libraries and librarians must suit our culture, norms, and also development of technology or whatever development in our country. Okay, so we need to have it according to our mode. Okay, and in developing the policy guidelines, we need to identify champion amongst librarians to spearhead and promote the idea and concept. I'm happy that Puan Mazmin mentioned about the initiative. Uh, work, library work together with the ACAP to strengthen the leadership of the libraries. Okay. And number two, we have to develop and establish human resource development program and training courses to develop, upgrade, reskilling, and increase the level of competencies and skill of servicing librarians. Okay. And finally, we create and establish a community amongst the librarians to embrace practice and promote the best practices of future-proof librarian behaviors, how we should behave, what should be our attitude, okay, our norms, culture, and etc. Wallahu a'lam bisawab. That is just my opinion on that.
Oh, thank you so much, Prof. There's a lot of things that need to be done actually. It's just not like the things that we just close our eyes and open up and just say, oh, we're going to do this. Because what we can see nowadays, okay, as you can see, changes is always there. Trend is there. Whether we like it or we don't like it, we have to face it. And of course, if we want to face it, we are not going to face it macam orang kata tangan kosong lah. We need to have the competencies, our strong leadership and everything. And of course, like Prof. Zu have highlighted, the ideas of having the, what you call the policies and guidelines as the tools, even though IFLA have already come up with the things, but we as Malaysian group of librarians, most probably we can come up with our own guidelines, most probably, and can be used as part of how are we going to measure the the librarians' performance. So we are end of it, tapi we are not end yet because we have questions and answers yang ditunggu-tunggu. Well,
questions. I thought we end already.
Okay, for your information, we have quite a number of questions that we have received. As for now, I just select 2 questions. Okay, dahulu. Yang lain tu, kalau if I did not select your question, I'm really sorry. It doesn't mean that your question is not important. Okay, tapi I suppose the panel nanti we will try to grab all the question or whatever and whatnot, and then mana question yang we can answer, we'll answer it and maybe post it somewhere, or maybe guna untuk berita perpustakaan, berita PPM, maybe we can post the answer over there. Okay, the first question. The first question, maybe Prof. Zu ya. Boleh kan Prof. Zu? I highlight Prof. Zu dulu lah. Because Sifu always come first. Okay, Prof. Zu. Okay, the question is, how can the university produce future-proof graduates? Okay, we can see because you're an academician, you've been there for quite some time, and is the curriculum pun you have been involved in doing it before this, and then yeah, can you please proceed with the questions? Narik juga ni.
Okay, let me think for a while. Well, Cik Zawawi, I think the questions is referring to future-proof graduate in library science, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if we look, it is a known fact, okay, that libraries, be it public or academic libraries, are facing great challenges, okay, changing in user demographic, their behavior, human resources, financial, technological issues, and for academic libraries, changes in higher education. If even now the challenge is great, what more in the future? And in addressing the current and future challenges, okay, library schools should not only produce graduates who are problem solvers and technology inventors, but personally, I feel that they need to produce graduates who possess intangible human elements, okay, such as civilization literacy, compassion, resilience, adaptability with good value and ethics. So graduates who possess strong positive values, skills, and knowledge will become wholesome or holistic individuals who will contribute to the global well-being. And in order to achieve this, library schools also need to provide the right mold to produce such is the curriculum. The curriculum need to be redesigned and become a future-proof curriculum. Okay, future-proof curriculum need to be more fluid and organic rather than rigid and fixed. I think the Ministry of Higher Education has come out with a framework that highlights the element within a curriculum structure, learning, delivery, and assessment, which are constructively aligned to prepare graduates in meeting the challenges of the 21st century. So basically, having a strong foundation and principles of libraries and information science, graduates need to have additional skill set that need to be learned and practiced. Among those skill sets that has been identified by the ministry are creative and innovation, resilient, leadership, flexibility, and adaptability. They have 9. I just highlight 4 here. Okay. Besides that, they also need to equip themselves with 3 main personal qualities. This is personal qualities, which are considered as future-proof attributes. The first one is lifelong learners. Okay, they need to develop their knowledge and skills in multidisciplinary areas of interest. Number 2, multiple intelligence and competency. They must be trained to comprehend and process information in different way. And number 3, computational thinking. So, okay, which is the ability to work with data and make data-based decision, which is also known as evidence-based practices. So as educator or library school, we need to ensure that our graduates are equipped with future-proof skill set through future-proof curriculum. At the same time, graduates also need to build the right personnel, qualities, and attributes which I believe would help them to cope with the new revolution that will take place in the working world. So it is not only from library school or university, but students or graduates themselves, they need to portray or to have these attributes or qualities in order for them to be more successful in future.
Thank you, Prof. Zu.
Providing everything from the school, Cik Zawawi,
Yes,
because
true.
effort need to come from the graduates also.
So I believe for this, what you call the dean of the faculty of what was the name of UiTM information?
Fakulti Pengurusan Maklumat.
Faculty Pengurusan Maklumat, and I suppose UM and UIA, they have the dean as well. They have to have a look at this. Prof. Dr. Norman, is the dean for UiTM, and I think Prof. Abriza as well. So the curriculum need to be redesigned in order to be more fluid and organic, and not just rigid and fixed. That's what Prof. Zu have highlighted related with the curriculum. So which is yeah, that's the thing that we need. So we want that thing to be. That is the challenge that we are facing now, to make sure that if you have the best curriculum, in order that the students are as well marketable. So yeah, thank you so much, Prof. Zu, for the answers, the question. And yeah, for the second question, I've got one as well for you, Puan Mazmin. Jangan lari, ya. So what should be immediate action taken by the Malaysian librarians to have these future-proof librarians?
Yeah, I don't intend to run just now. After listening to the question, I feel like running away. I think Prof. Zuraidah has mentioned a lot about engaging our stakeholders to actually gather information, to do scientific discoveries on this. I believe the immediate action or initiative that we can take on this is to develop and to establish a community of practice, the COP, on the library of the future, that we can actually have our stakeholders in this platform, where we can start conversation, start asking tough questions on the future of the library or the library of the future, and we have what we call a shared vision, a common interest on this. I believe we must start seriously having a conversation on this, because Cik Zawawi, if you see, Zuraidah, you see, even in many areas that we start having kumpulan focus to nurture and gather, to nurture and introduce new initiatives for the academic libraries, mainly especially for the public universities. I believe we should use the same approach on this. So I would suggest that after this we have a COP on the library of the future, Cik Zawawi. So I don't run away. I suggest what I feel important for this, for us to stay relevant in the future. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Puan Mazmin. So it seems that our time, that we only have like a few minutes left. Just I would like to wrap up here. I would like to wrap up a little bit on the issues that been highlighted. So we can see that changes and trends always there, and we can run away from it. Macam I like jangan lari. So the curriculum need to be redesigned, whether we like it or we don't like it. But the most important thing is that the leadership plays the most important role. So meaning to say, we need to have a strong leaders in order to leave the library, to make sure that the librarians will always sustain there. And the other thing that I would like to highlight is that it's very interesting when Prof. Zuraidah has highlighted about the 3 skills, yang needed in 2030. So related with the high cognitive skills, social and emotional skills, and technological skills. And I think this I've read somewhere is relate also with the, I'm not sure whether Puan Mazmin have highlighted about the characteristic of the future-proof librarian tadi kan, you have highlighted. So I think these two things relates with the skills and the characteristics. And what interesting about Puan Mazmin highlighted just now about the proactive leaders. So librarians need to be more entrepreneur, kan? So meaning to say, bukanlah bila entrepreneur, all of the libraries we turn up into Shopee. No, but if the concept of Shopees or the concept of Lazada can be implemented at the library, so I would suppose that the library will be much more, orang kata, the trend will always be there. Macam Puan Mazmin kata, takkanlah perempuan apa nama dia tu lelaki dengan perempuan saja yang nak berlawar, tapi mean to say the library also need to be berlawar with the new services or the new services that been provided for the library itself. And I suppose this is what's all about, what the future proof librarian is all about. But again, as highlighted only as well, the apa nama dia tu, the student itself have to play their role, okay, to make sure that they're as well to be equipped with things and whatsoever and whatnot. And the ideas of Puan Mazmin has mentioned just now about the established about the Library of Future Community platform. I suppose that is very important, and I'm not sure who is going to take over, but I presume JKPUA, mungkin pengurusi baru Encik Azman, maybe PPM to look into this, or the faculty. So we need to have a platform where we can chunk everything in so that we know what's needed or whatsoever and whatnot for the future. Tapi whatever it is, I like the apa nama dia tu, the quote by Prof Zuraidah. I still going to take that as the closing for this session, yeah. So a tree beauty lies in its branches, but its strength but the strength lies in its root. If you know where you are from, it is harder for people to stop you where you are going. So yang itu yang very important, it's very touching. So I suppose I would like to thank everybody. Terima kasih Puan Mazmin, terima kasih Prof Zuraidah for your time for today's session. It's a great session. I'm not sure, I'm just hoping that most probably Puan Mazmin, we are going to have another session just like this. Maybe we're going to invite the young librarian to speak up. Okay, before I end up the session, I would like to also to inform the infographic related with the future proof librarian and the future proof library will be provided, ya Puan Mazmin, and that's what she said. She have already janji, bukan janji main.
I can't run, right? I can't run away, right?
You cannot run away. Okay, then I thank all of you for joining us today, for your time, and for our friends from Indonesia and as well from Brunei. Thank you so much for joining us. And everybody, have a great weekend. Take care and stay safe. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.